Hi, my name is Anna, short from Oksana, one N, super important. I am here to share a few thoughts on manifestation. I bet we all, by this point, heard about manifestation, impressing your subconscious mind, yada, yada, yada. And I guess I have a few thoughts to share. That's why I'm here. Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. Anyway, why I decided to do that? Assessing my life, I kind of noticed that regardless of how big or small my dream is, I always get what I want. Like, period, full stop. Sometimes I don't have means or knowledge on how I got that thing. But again, I always get what I want. At some point I started telling people, even without like knowing about manifestation, without starting researching it or whatever. I just always tell people I just know I'm gonna get it, or I know I'm gonna be there. I know I'm gonna end up there, right? And at some point in my life, I was curious why it happens to me, right? Why it happens to me and not to another person. I guess that's how I end up. Okay, I'll not make myself look smarter than I am. I end up on TikTok. And there are tons of good creators, awesome creators who talk about manifestation. And, you know, the concept was pretty simple or is pretty simple. You kind of like, you get an idea of what you want and then you dream about it, like you visualize it or whatever. Or you have an idea of how it's supposed to look. And, you kind of like decide that, okay, that's what I want. And you go about your day. Once I got into the bits and pieces of how you do it, it's became more complicated, I guess. So all of a sudden, like you have to ignore 3D, right? 3D is like your outer world, your reality, right? You have to ignore 3D. You have to state everything in present tense, like you have to affirm, you have to work on self-concept. And the more I got into the whole topic, it became this huge complicated beast. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, I never done none of that, can't relate, right? So being a lawyer, I I started doing my research. I'm like, okay, so it's cool to listen to people, word of mouth, their experience. It's very valid, very important, obviously. But I want to do my own research. And a lot of people refer to Neville Goddard or Joe Dispenza. And again, if you if you learn about manifesting or you watch videos or whatever you do right now, you've heard those names, right? I started reading Neville Goddard. And I got this humongous books with all of his works. I listened to his lectures, and it kind of clarified quite a few things for me, so to say. So basically, it's like I said, it's very simple. There is no need to overcomplicate it, right? You have a desire, and like you know what you desire, right? Let's say you want to be, I don't know, let's start simple, okay? You want to be a medical student or you want to go to med school. So you kind of like, the desire is born. I want to go to med school, right? And then you naturally start reading about it, researching it, you're doing all of the steps, bam, you're in med school, right? Let's say, okay, going back to my story, uh, I want to be a lawyer right now, obviously I am, but just to tie it all in to this manifestation learning or manifestation game, so to say, and hopefully it will clarify things for a few of you. So basically, I wanted to be a lawyer since I was like a little girl. I was 12 or 13, something like that, when I made the decision. And I'm from Ukraine, right? So first I went to law school there and I graduated, but at some point I decided, I want to move to Canada. Long story short, in 4 months, I'm here. Again, actually, quite a good story. So, the desire was born. I wanted to go to Canada, right? As a 19 years old, obviously, I didn't have money for it. I didn't know where I gonna live there. I didn't know what I gonna do there. Well, I knew what I wanted to do here, but I didn't know how it all gonna happen, right? At that point, I remember I talked to my dad, and I kind of like left it with him. And again, long story short, in 4 months, all of a sudden, I'm in Canada. Here it is. Um, when I came to Canada, I remember I wanted to be a lawyer here as well, right? So again, the desire was born. I don't think I really like visualized or anything. I just kind of decided, okay, I want to be a lawyer here. And as an immigrant, I guess a lot of you can relate if you move to another country, especially fairly young in your early 20s, even younger, without your parents, by yourself. Y Like the finances are not there. For me, the language was not there. So many factors were not there. And I remember I moved to Calgary first. But still, like the knowledge that, okay, be a lawyer here was there. So at that point, I was going to school, learning the language, blah, blah, blah. And at some at some point, I decided that, Calgary is not for me. I'm gonna apply for the university in BC, and I'm just gonna go and live there. Mind you, I didn't apply to law school. I applied to like a regular criminology program, which I was accepted to, so I just moved to BC, right? In BC, I'm working as a waitress, I'm going to school, like living my best life. I am doing literally nothing at that point to become a lawyer, but still, the knowledge is there. I am not worrying about it, right? I'm just like, I'm a lawyer. It's a done deal. What I started doing in BC, I started researching how to actually become a lawyer in Canada, right? And there was a process. I had to, whatever, I had to get Canadian credits and go to school, do my articling. Doesn't matter. Anyway, in BC, I started researching it. And in order to get to a school that I wanted to get, I had to pass this IELTS test. So, what is IELTS test? It's like it's another beast. Basically, it's a language test, and you have to score certain you have to score a certain score in order to be accepted by universities. And I remember my writing was just not there, and my language, I'll be honest with you, was not there. Like I believe the school required like 7 on all 4 disciplines, which is like listening, reading, writing, speaking, right? My language was not there. I took I took that test 5 times. 5 times. Um, Again, I gonna stop here. So whenever whenever people speak about manifestation, they like ignore 3D. Circumstances don't matter, right? That's why I want to pause here. It's okay to, you know, see that something is not going the way you thought it's supposed to go in 3D, right? I did not want to pass IELTS. I didn't want to take IELTS 5 times. I didn't. Did it stop me though from pursuing my goal? Not really. I took the test 5 times. Mind you, it's not a cheap test, and I was working as a waitress back then. I did not make a lot of money, like at all, and I had to pay for my food, for my apartment, which is in BC was not so cheap. And then, like clothes, I don't know, whatever people pay for on a daily basis. That all was on my tab, right? And I did not make a lot. For some reason I remember I made like maybe 800 per 2 weeks and my rent was like 600. So my life was not that lavish, trust me. And somehow, even with that budget, I managed to take that test 5 times. Somehow, I found the means. Anyway, long story short, again, I passed the test. And I got accepted to law school in BC and to law school in Ontario. Well, I decided to go with Ontario. They gave me a scholarship, so amazing ending, right? Right. Again, I know in my mind that I am a lawyer. Moving to Ontario, I go to law school, I did my LLM, and I again work as a waitress. But on the back of my mind, I'm like, I should I should find a job in a legal field, right? And I am doing literally nothing to get the job, like nothing, not a single thing. I wish I at least sent one resume. No, no, I didn't. I am still like working as a waitress, thinking about I need to get a job in legal field and go into law school. Anyway, the circumstances don't matter. Just saying. Sometimes you don't need to lift a finger. I don't want to say I'm a lazy person, but I am a proponent of doing what feels good. So I don't know. At that point, not applying felt good. Go and figure. Anyway, so I'm working in this restaurant. Everything goes well until bam, just like bam, I got fired. Don't want to get into details why it was like it's just get fired for whatever. Anyway, I'm upset because I actually like that job. I really like that restaurant. It was like a big chain restaurant. I like the team. I was upset. I was so upset. Um, Yet again, in my head, I'm thinking, I need to find a job in legal field. What was I doing? I created a resume as a server, and I'm going to restaurants and applying to be a server again. I was doing that like for a month, not a single response. And usually I was very quick to find a job like that, right? It's like 2 weeks top, and I got a job. I'm very talkative, bubbly, social, whatever. So usually people like me. Anyway, uh, I just couldn't find a job in that field. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? What the hell is going on? And the money, we're running short. So basically, like I said, since I moved to Canada, I was supporting myself fully, and I have bills to pay. I have apartment. I need to pay rent. I need to pay all of those bills. Not to mention that like I had to buy books for school and stuff for school. So I'm panicking at this point. uh, Somehow it came to my mind that what, I have to stop with this, like with whatever I am doing right now. It's clearly counterproductive. Maybe I should actually try applying in legal field. Anyway, prepared my resume, and I got the job within a month, with no experience, without anything. Like, I just got that job. I just got a job, not to mention that I got a job 10 minutes walk from my then apartment. So basically, I didn't need to spend a single penny on transit, a single penny on anything. And when you work like in law office, you always have access to paper, like printer, pens, pencils, all of that. So you know what? That made my life easier, so much easier. Anyway, um, did I like it? It was so surprising to me that if only I researched my area, if only I, just created a resume to be for a legal assistant or whatever, and just applied around my blog, like that would be so much easier. But no, no, I had to get fired first, apply for another service position or whatever, and only then. I'm just, why am I talking about all of this? I'm talking about all of this because sometimes, I've noticed a lot of people, they have a desire, and that desire has to be fulfilled right now, like right now. And if it's not, all of a sudden they give up and they're like, oh, manifestation doesn't work. That's all bullshit, doesn't work, and they go back to whatever whatever thinking they had before. And it's not to say that the thinking before was bad. I just really don't like people to give up, I guess. That's why I'm sharing my story. That whenever we have a desire, it's not like it has to happen right now. And whenever you see unfavorable circumstances, it doesn't mean that you're not getting it, right? It doesn't mean that it's not coming your way. Um, you would think that just, you know what, just I gonna keep going with my story to show how circumstances don't really matter. And I guess based on this story, I'm gonna walk through a few steps on how manifestation works for me in my life and what I do without any woo-woo stuff. Um, I'm gonna pause right here and just talk about woo-woo stuff because a lot of people, when it comes to manifestation, they're, I guess, the words that are regularly used are like delusional or I don't know, ignoring 3D, all of that stuff, which I don't really believe in because as people we do have five senses and you see 3D. Like I see my phone right now, I see myself in my phone right now, I see this candle, like I see stuff, I smell the scent of this candle, like I hear my AC working. So it's not like it's so easy to just turn off your senses, right? And I wouldn't recommend that. I honestly wouldn't recommend ignoring things in your 3D because it's meant to be enjoyed. Like a lot of people talk about, or not a lot of people, but I guess from what I read, it is valuable and very important to live in the moment because sometimes we think about our desire and we want to get it right now to the point where we forget to live. We forget to like turn our head around and be like, oh my God, it's actually not that bad. And I like what I see right now. Even if it's that bad, you look around, you're like, okay, I'm going to change my situation. But I am not a proponent of ignoring things you see, not reacting to them, different story. And by not reaction, like again, not reacting to things is, did I react to the fact that I was fired from that cool restaurant? I love that restaurant till this very day. Was I upset? Of course. Did I cry? 100%. Was I devastated? Yes. Absolutely. Yes. I had a reaction. Trust me, I had a reaction. A week of reaction, okay? But in the end of the day, it didn't change much, right? I got an amazing position in a law firm. I fulfilled my desire, I guess. So whenever we react to things, it's like it doesn't ruin anything. Matter of fact, it doesn't do anything. It does something to you and your well-being, like you feel sad or devastated or upset or whatever that is in the moment, but it doesn't mean that it'll last forever. Like don't be don't be scared to show emotions, to feel emotions, to react in the end of the day. Even if you react, so what? If mentally you know like whatever you want is yours and you're like not giving up on it, so like so be it. The the funny thing again about reaction, the more you the more you live, the more you get your desires fulfilled, it's easier to get non-reactive, right? Because you know that eventually it's gonna happen. Like it doesn't really matter. I react, I don't. Eventually, what I want is gonna happen, right? I feel it. I know how it looks. I know how it tastes. I imagined it. Whatever that is, right? So it's kind of get easier, but I wouldn't encourage people to hold their feelings inside or like not live in 3D because it's meant to be experienced with your five senses. Um, Going back to my story. Okay. So now I work as a legal assistant, and I never like I at that point I didn't know whether I wanted to do criminal because like my nature, I'm very I don't know I don't want to say fiery, but I'm very social. I'm very bubbly. I like chatting, talking, making my points. I like debates, right? I like debates. That's what it is. Anyway, so I either want to be a criminal lawyer or corporate commercial because ambiance, I guess. So I work in that law firm, and I'm super grateful to my principal. He is still an amazing guy. We are in great relationships. But at some point, I decided that it's time to shift gears, and I really wanted to work in a big law firm, like Bay Street down. I'm from Toronto, so Bay Street downtown, like huge corporate law firm. And I started applying. And I'm applying, the months go by. I applied for 6 months, just saying. Or maybe, actually, no, I applied for closer to a year. And I was applying, and I knew I gonna get there. I knew I gonna get that position. Like, there was no doubt in my mind, and I just applied. And you know what's funny? I applied to the same firms for like 10 times, 12 times. I got close to 5 interviews, failed obviously all of them but one. And it never stopped me. Like, this kind of, now that I'm talking about it, I kind of, I humor myself in a way. It's, it's funny, determination. Anyway, so I know I'm gonna get that position. And shortly after I did, I applied for a year, never gave up, never looked at any circumstances. Was I upset after like a failed interview? Obviously. What, like, did I think that because I failed that interview, I failed my entire desire? No, not a chance. No. I got upset about that particular event. I recovered the next day and I was like, "Boop, boop, 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 boop," sending resume again, just like on autopilot. Anyway, I got the position in big law firm, enjoyed it quite a lot. I guess at the same time when I graduated from the law school, I started working in that big law firm. Now that I'm thinking about timeline, sorry, I'm just talking, I'm doing it without a script. So sometimes I need a minute to think about like timelines. Anyway, so I graduate, I work in the big law firm, everything is good for me, right? And in how it works in Ontario, you have to, in order to become a lawyer, you have to fulfill two requirements, right? Your obviously law school bar exam is like an educational requirement, and then practical one, articling. So at this point, I became very concerned with articling, and I was looking for an articling. In the meantime, I'm working at this big law firm. I'm preparing for bar exam. Um, it was cool, fun times, fun times. Haven't seen myself in the mirror for like quite some time. Anyway, not my point. Um, I passed my bar exam, and at this point, it was like I want to say 7 months passed, right? And I started looking into I was looking into articling before, but now I kind of started applying. I kid you not, I applied for 3 cycles. Even more. Not three, I think 2 cycles, was it, or 3 cycles? Now I don't recall. Anyway, I graduated in 2019, 2 cycles. I graduated in 2019 and I applied for my first articling cycle. And failed. Didn't get a single interview. Like, actually, no, I got 3 interviews. I didn't get a single phone call back. So I didn't get the articling in that year. And I was like, oh, okay, might as well. Not a big deal. For some reason, it didn't occur to me that I just can, walk up to people and ask whether they need an articling student or whatever. No, I was set on this articling process. I didn't see any other possibility. Anyway, so first articling cycle, I guess, first hiring for articling cycle, I just failed it. Knowing me, obviously, I got upset for a day. I never gave up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get there. No worries. I am a lawyer. In my head, I'm like, I am a lawyer. I'm applying for articling again the next year. Long story short, you know the answer. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And that time I was like very upset. I remember like it took me down for a week. Um, at that point I was like this close to like give up. Not even that. I kind of like I knew that I am a lawyer. Like I just knew it. But I it was a self pity, what I can say. I was just like self pitying myself for a week. Anyway, at that point, I'm like, okay, articling didn't work. At least I can apply to be a summer student. And remember the beginning of my story, I didn't know whether I want to do criminal or like commercial corporate. So in In a big law firm, I work in a commercial real estate department. Love it. Um, Now I am applying to become a summer student because usually, again, summer student position can a summer student position can transition into articling student position. Like, I will not get into details, whatever, but I'm applying for that position. I got it in a criminal law firm. So for one summer, I tried criminal. In the end of the summer, something happened in that law firm, which has nothing to do with my performance or my credentials. So I decided that criminal law is not for me. Yeah, just it was I took it as a sign from my higher self, like, girl, criminal law is not for you. So corporate commercial. I obviously, because I didn't want to pursue criminal, I didn't get articling once again. So I'm going back to my big law firm. I am still legal assistant, and at that point, I kind of calmed down. I calmed down to the point, like, whatever, like, honestly, whatever. I'll gonna get there. I'm gonna be a lawyer. Like, don't worry, it's okay. I am ready to sit 1 year and like apply next year. At that point, there was no resistance. There was no nothing, no negative emotions. I was just like, what happens happens. And I remember I sent an email to one of the partners in that firm, and I asked him, like, whether he knows somebody who was looking for an articling student. To be honest with you, I did that without, like, zero expectations. Zero expectations. At that point, I knew I'll not get an articling anytime soon. It's like, might as well. To my surprise, he's like, yeah, you know what? One of my friends is looking for an articling student. You have an interview tomorrow. I'm like, oh, what? Tomorrow? Um, I know nothing about a guy. I know nothing about a firm. I have an interview tomorrow for an articling. Did I expect that? No, no. And at that point, somewhere in the back of my head, I'm like, it's okay. Like, if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. So what? Like, who cares? Anyway, I have a chat with the guy um, who is now my colleague. We work together and still in that law firm. Amazing guy, and I'm just amazing. A brilliant man, extremely intelligent, kind, emotionally intelligent. Honestly, I can talk about my principal all day. He is an amazing human being, one of a kind, to be fair and honest with you. But yeah, I have a conversation with him, and to my surprise, it seems like interview is going well. And I didn't say anything in particular about myself. I didn't go into details on what I do, or like, there was no questions about cases or case law, or no questions like that whatsoever. It's like, hi, tell me a little bit more about yourself. That's what I can tell you about the firm. And I believe during my first interview, he still wanted me to talk to another associate the next day. So the next day, I have an interview with another associate at the firm, and on that day, it was settled. I got offered the position of an articling student, just like that. Boom. I remember I asked him for 2 weeks to, pay respect to my then current employer. And yeah, in 2 weeks, I became an articling student at that law firm. Did I foresee the possibility of that happening? No. Did I lift? Well, I guess I lifted a finger for that to happen. I sent that email. Zero expectations, like zero. I I cannot emphasize it more how I did not believe that that would go anywhere, like, for a second. Or I guess no, I cannot say I didn't believe that it wouldn't go anywhere. I really didn't have any expectations attached. So again, talking about this long, long story, I came to Canada with the knowledge that, I can be a lawyer here. Did it happen overnight? No. Did I face a lot of quote unquote negative circumstances? Although now looking back, not so negative, right? I assigned negative connotation to them. Well, yeah, things happened. Did I react? Yes. Did that reaction for a second made me believe that I will not be a lawyer? No, no. I reacted with the knowledge that it's still happening. Why I decided to film this video and I guess share this story of mine and about my experiences because tying back to teaching of Neville Goddard and just to make the process simpler for a lot of people, decide what you want, just make a decision. That's what I want. And be faithful to it. Just be faithful to it. It might not happen overnight. It might. Who knows? Depending on your desire. But regardless of what you see in what you see right now around you, regardless of what you perceive right now with your five senses, regardless of how you feel right now, you may feel sad, you may feel upset, you may have a bad day, whatever, it's okay. Still, it's, as a matter of fact, it's totally cool. It's fine. Breathe. You're a human being. You you are allowed to feel whatever you feel right now. It doesn't matter that it doesn't mean that that particular feeling or that particular reaction messed anything up. Like it doesn't, I cannot emphasize how it doesn't matter. Know what's going to happen, but don't attach any expectation to it, right? Because the more you're holding on in it to it, the more you're holding on to it for dear life, what happens is you I guess generally you unconsciously create those what if situations. But what if this doesn't go well? What if it doesn't happen this particular way? It will happen. Like if somebody told me how my story gonna look like in the end of the day, I honestly wouldn't believe it. But outcome is the same. I am a lawyer. An interesting question. I'm talking about not I interesting question when you need something to happen right now, right? And the law still works. I know I'm saying that don't attach yourself to outcome, don't think about it, but you know what? Now, the more I think about my life and situations I've been through, kind of you never know the end story. You never know. I remember I was going yet again. I was graduating from law school, and I needed to pay. I need to pay for law school, and my family was going through some stuff. So, long story short, I was 10K short, right? And I didn't really know where to get those money. I like my the law school would have released my credentials to me, like my certificate that I completed the program, whatever. So my career was on the line at that point, so to say. And I again, um, back then I was on a student visa, right? So not a single bank in Canada would give me a loan without a cosigner. I didn't have cosigner, like just circumstances one on top of the other. Did it stop me? No. I started researching online. Did I think that that would bring me somewhere? No, no. I just started researching online, and I found this lender in U.S. who miraculously in like 2 weeks landed me the needed amount, which is no less than 10K. It's insane, right? I wouldn't make it up. And usually I would look at those websites and be like, oh my God, that's a scam, whatever. At that point, somehow I found a legit lender and they legitimately gave me that amount without a cosigner. Again, unheard of. Uh, so I'm just saying, and back then I remember I was attached to that. I really needed it. I thought about it every single second. I followed up. I was very much engaged in circumstances. I believe, I still believed I gonna get it, right? I gonna make it happen no matter what. I knew that. But I was attached to everything was going on around me. I was reactive, you name it. I probably broke every rule of manifestation community, or every rule even advised by Neville Goddard himself. So I guess the I want to wrap up this video because it's the first video and I don't want to throw too much information into it. But in the end of the day, to make it all very, very simple, if you have a desire, look at it through a lens of it's done no matter what. When you react, it's still done. You're upset, it's still done. You feel unmotivated, it's still done. You are as far from your desire as you could be, in your opinion, it's still done. Like whatever happens, whatever happens, and I mean whatever happens, in whatever situation, be it financial, be it health, be it relationships, no matter what you see right now, as long as you have a desire and you stay faithful to the outcome, it will happen. And whatever you do in between, whatever you feel in between, whatever happens in between, it's so irrelevant. Like it's please underline it, bold it, like emphasize this line. Whatever happens in the middle, it's irrelevant. What is relevant, what you want, and you just know it's done. Whatever happens here, all of this mishy mushy stuff or whatever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I hope this video helped and clarified a few things, and I hope it inspires a few of you, regardless where you are right now and where you want to be. I hope it inspires you to dream big and don't look at anything around you. Don't accept whatever it is in front of you right now as a final answer. Just know that you have your desire and uh, and just live. Just live in the moment. That's about it. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it a lot and have a nice day.